everyone, today I am going to show you how to make resin to make these super cute resin hair clips. Now this is one of my first attempts, and if you have a look closely, I've actually got some bubbles and stuff like that and some minor defects on this one. So I'm going to show you some things I've learned since then on how to stop that. Like I said, you can see the glue underneath that one, so that's not brilliant, and again it's got some minor flaws, so I'm going to show you some tricks that I've learned how to stop that. Now, bare minimum when you're doing resin, you must have the personal protection equipment. So you must have a ventilated mask, you must have some gloves. If you are allergic to latex, there is plenty of alternatives on the market, because even the low odour ones, like the ones that I've got, which I'll show you in a minute, they still have chemicals and can cause reactions, and they can also cause serious breathing issues. So this is just an FFP1NR mask. They're used by spray painters and things like that, so like I said, they're good. The other thing is I'm in my craft room. I have both my windows open, I have my door open, I have my kitchen windows open, my bathroom windows open, and my living room windows open. And if you've got an area outside, so say you work in your like patio area, so you've turned your patio like conservatory into a bow room, then again I would have your patio like doors open when you're doing this, because like I said, it does require ventilation. You can't do it in a closed room with no mask and no gloves. It is not good for you. Even if you don't feel like you're having a reaction at the time, it can eventually build up and cause long-term reactions later on. So like I said, put a little bit of money into the personal protection equipment. So like I said, this is the basics. If you're going to do it long term, I would recommend getting the goggles and the better quality mask. Like I said, you can get a full ventilated one, but they do cost a bit of money, which is what puts some people off. But like I said, it's best for your health to invest that money if you're going to be using resin on a long-term basis. So that's just something to think about for you. Now, I have some moulds which were kindly donated by Donna over at Pixie Dot Bow Supplies. So she sent me this super cute straight alligator clip one, this amazing curved clip one, and this pendant shape one, which is good for leftovers. Now with this one, you could do, as you can see there, I've spilled a bit. With this one, alternatively, because you've got the little marks, like the little dots here, which create the holes, you can alternatively make these into pendants, or you could make them into earrings if you wanted to, if you doubled them. So like I said, it's a great die to play around in, and it's a great die for like leftover bits if you're still learning how much resin you need to use. So they're the moulds. Thank you so much, Donna. Like I said, I've been having great fun playing with them, and you can already see the difference. Let me just take one out for you. You can see the difference in the quality. There's no bubbles in these ones. There's less like flaws around the edges. Like I said, I was much more, like I said, I did more research and learnt how to mix my resin for the required amount of times, and like warming it up slightly before I started pouring my dyes and things like that. So like I said, it is a big difference, but like I said, I still overspilled on this one, look. So there, you can sort of cut these off or ply them off. And then you can sort of sand them down a little. But the one on the inner one, that'll be a bit more difficult. But like I said, it's not bad for practice. And like I said, it's only a little bit of resin that I'm using, so it's not too bad. So, that's personal protection. These were the other bits that I practiced with as well. And I had these like, they're like the foiled flakes. So as you can see, it's completely out like this one because it's got like the curve to it. And the resin that I have got is called Crystal Clear low odour one, because I specifically chose it because any that have high odours or have the sort of strong odours to it give me such a wrecking headache as it is, which is another reason why you're meant to have the ventilation in the first place. So as you can see, I've got all these pretty pieces here. So let's put them all to one side along with my clips, and I'll go through all the other bits and pieces that you need for resin making. Now, if you're going to use one of these curved clips, these are the preferred clips for these, and these are called slider clips. And again, Donna or Pixie Dot also does 3 of these for £1. You can order them when you order your moulds, and I've got a discount code which I'll put in the description below. There will be a little bit of outside traffic noise because, like I said, I've got my window open while I'm filming this because I'm not breathing in fumes while I'm talking to you all. So I'll just put those all to one side. Set for my clips. Put that there. Now I brought 3 different sets from Amazon. So here, these were from a former project, but I've got a selection of glitter pieces and like table scatter it's called, and these are the foil pieces that you just saw in those designs. So you can get these, they cost anywhere between like 99p to a few pound depending on what styles and how fancy you've gone. And then I also brought a colour dye set. So these are liquid resin dyes, and I'll put a link in the description below for these, but I've got 24 different colours, and I've got like sunset red, greenish, blackish green, and there's just 24 different ones of them. And all you need to do is add a couple of droplets to your resin mix before you start pouring, remix it in, and then you get all different colours. And obviously with these you get all different mixes. I got a pair of gloves with my resin, which I'll show you in a minute, and then separately I brought this kit which came with 3 of these measuring cups. So there's these 2 here, and there's another one that's somewhere in my room somewhere. I'm terrible for misplacing it. Came with these finger protection latex gloves and 3 of these little pots for like small pours if you wanted to mix a couple of different colours separately. And then it came with these pipettes, and it came with like 50 or 25 lollipop sticks, which are perfect for mixing resin. So I'm going to keep these all in this little box all together so I don't misplace anything. I will need that bit in a minute. And I also got this silicone blue mask because matte, because again, if you spill the resin, it dries on the silicone and you can sort of pick it off. If you put it other places, it can sort of mark and get onto things you don't want it to get onto. So that's all of those. Just put my glasses back in so I don't need to misplace anything. And then I got these, and again, this was a set of 2. It cost me about £14 for both, and it's called Ink Lab, and you get the set of 2 for the £14.99, and one is the epoxy resin bay, and the other one is the epoxy resin hardener, and you should use it as a ratio of 1.1. So if you use 10mm of this, you should use 10mm of that. If you use 40 of that, you should use 40 of that, and vice versa. The other thing is A, works well to being warmer, and your resin will also cure faster and won't stay soft if you put it in a warm area, so it sort of dries correctly. If you have a really cold place, the resin will stay sort of soft, and it will take much longer to sort of actually harden the way it should do. So that's something I learned. So like I said, I've taken to like sort of warming it up in my hands a little bit before I start pouring it. So there's those ones. So I'll just take all of these out of the moulds, and these also came with these 2 little measuring cups as well. So let's take all of these out and put them to one side. And as you can see, these are nicely coming out of the moulds. And if it's hardened correctly, you shouldn't have any mess or anything left behind on these. So basically I'm doing this a little bit in reverse. Like traditionally you do the resin and then demould, but obviously it takes 24 hours for these things to cure and dry. So I thought if I do it this way, it sort of makes things a little bit quicker. So I will get my measuring cup. Going to put my gloves on, and I'll have to speak louder than I normally do at the moment because, as I said, I'm going to have a mask on in a second. And I've also got my glasses on, which again, if you wear glasses, they can sort of semi-double up as protection for your eyes. I do not look glamorous when I'm wearing this getup, but that's not the point of it. The point of it is to keep you safe. As you can see, I'm wearing a mask, everything's on, got my glasses. So now we are going to mix the two resins, and like I said, it's 1 versus 1. So for my dyes from learning yesterday, I only needed like 5mm to fill both this one and this one, maybe 10, well, I only needed about 15, so I do 20, and any extra I use to pour into this dye. And like I said, I've warmed this up a little bit in my hand, and like I said, if you really want to, you could take a hairdryer just for a minute and literally add some extra warmth to it. Now I like these measuring ones because I've already got the guides on for you, and I'm going to do 10 and 10 to get 20 because it's easier to work in even measurements. So I'm just going to pour in A first. Do be careful, just check just a little drop more. There we go, there's 10 of A. And do be careful with your mixing, because like I said, you don't want a different ratio to 1:1, because if you do, like I said, you will have issues with the resins mixers hardening and things like that. And then we'll add the 10 of this to make up to 20. There we go. And it does take a lot to stir this. You need to be stirring, for your bubbles to come out, you need to be stirring for at least 7 minutes. 7 to 10 minutes longer if you can manage it. There we go. So there's 20. And like I said, that's 10 of A, 10 of B. Like I said, you don't need an awful lot of these hair dye ones. Now, you'll see it's sort of, I'll try and put it close up so you can see. It's already got the bubbles in it, and what you're meant to do is when you're mixing, you'll see, you need to mix until you've got no streaks, because the streaks are the two, like A and B mixing together. And like I said, it does take considerable time to sort of do this. If you've got naturally warm hands, that will help as well, which is good because I'm like a human radiator. Like I said, I've got my windows open right now and I'm in a short sleeve t-shirt, and in the middle of a British winter time, well, the beginnings of British winter time, when I'm fine. So, like I said, you keep mixing, scrape your sides as well so it mixes all nice and evenly. Just show you, you can see all the big balls in there at the moment. We don't want that. So you just keep mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing and mixing. Like I said, with the mask, I can't smell this at all without the mask on. I can smell it mildly because, like I said, this is a low odour version. There is ones with stronger smells out there. And again, excuse any background noise if you can hear that. One of my neighbours has suddenly decided to start letting off fireworks. I tried doing this tutorial during the morning, but it was just as bad with people like going in and out of the houses and like doing the day-to-day bits. And I know I'm from Nottingham, but like I said, honestly, it's fireworks, nothing else. So yeah, like I said, this bit's quite boring. Feel free to skip it. I'm going to fast forward some of it for you as well. But as you can see, it's quite cloudy at the minute. You literally want to keep mixing this until it's back to its original clear clear form. And like I said, that is 7 to 10 minutes. And what I tend to do is, you know, like sitcoms, like New Girl, Friends, Modern Family, any sort of 20-minute sort of little background noise TV, Big Bang Theory, things like that. I sit and watch an episode of that while I'm mixing, and then I know that I've done it for long enough that it's going to be nice and clear. Probably sounds like too much for some people, but I'd rather do it for longer and have as many of those bubbles out as possible than underdo it and have all those air bubbles like I did in my first couple of lots. Keep going. And the other thing is, if you're going to be doing resin, I recommend one of these long stem lighters as well, because I'll show you a trick for getting some more of the bubbles out if you've still got some with the lighter. But like I said, these are a lifesaver. The shorter ones, the normal clippy lighters, these do just not cut it, because you'll burn yourself and burn your gloves, and we don't want that. So keep going, keep going. I do think if I'd have taken, because I used to do these kind of crafts when I was younger, resin, clays and other ones like that, because Donna's also kindly gifted me some polymer clay moulds. I'm going to be playing with them soon as well, but I'm waiting for my clay. If we'd have had all the things back like 10 years ago when I used to do these kind of crafts then, if we'd have had like the low odour resins and the like bits and pieces and all the different moulds and all the like YouTube tutorials that we've got nowadays, I probably would have kept this up. But like I said, we just didn't have the same resources back then. It's quite relaxing, really. Boring, but quite relaxing. Well, there we go. It started to go clear again. Now with your drops, the great things about these, I'm not opening this one. This one is green blue because I'm going to do an under the sea theme. So we've got this one, and you can add 1 or 2 drops, mix it and see what colour it turns, and if it's not dark enough for you, you can add a few more drops. So you can have like a quite low colour version, or you can make it more intense, which I really like about these little drops, which is a little bit harder to achieve with the like pigments, I believe. But you can get, it's mica powders I believe that you can get, and you can use them instead. And again, drop a couple of colours, mix it, see if you like the intensity. If you don't, add a few more. Just don't be tempted to add like tons of drops straight away. Do it slowly so you've got like a colour that you like. I'm going to make this quite intense because like I said, I want it to be like, I want the colour to be like the sea. So I want it like a nice bluey green tone. So there we go. And the other thing I'm going to do is I've got these little mermaids. Want all of them up. It's the arm colours. So just sort of place them where you want them. trying to do more traditional. Yeah, I've got these for a reason. There we go, that's better. And last one. There we go. Just put those out of the way so I can do those. So like I said, you can place these in, you can do flowers or anything like that instead. It is fiddly work, but that's not going to change no matter which one of these little ones that you're doing. Give it another little stir again once you've done that. Wipe that on the edge so we don't get any resin anywhere. And very, very slowly, because these are all self-leveling. So no matter what you pour, it should, if you don't overfill it, it will level out. You do need to spread it a little bit if you need to. And I tend to be a little bit cautious with my filling and go back to it if I need to, rather than overfilling it straight from the beginning. Do you see how they were sort of spreading out? If they're not automatically spreading to fill the space, then that's when you need a little bit more resin, because it's not enough to level itself. There you go. So there's those. And again, with the leftovers, because I don't like leaving any in my pot, so because I've still got about 5mm left, I like doing this like donut one first, and then this bigger square, and this like rectangular shape. The circle. A few drops more on that one. A couple drops there on that. Love heart. I like this little one here. And then I might get this last little bit there we go. So the other thing I've got is I've got this little, so with this, if it's not going around your little, if it's not self-spreading, you can sort of use this or a cocktail stick to sort of spread it around the little bits and pieces like that. Same here, if you see here it's not quite filled the whole die. So you can sort of pour the resin a little bit and make sure it's filled. And the same with these. Now, as you can see here, on all my bits, the bubbles that are in the moulds have started to rise up. So what you do with your lighter is, where you can see the bubbles, you can run the lighter over them like this, and the bubbles sort of pop and vanish. And the other thing I do is I recommend in about half an hour's time, come back and have a look at them, and you can sort of redo this with your lighter if you need to, if any new bubbles have come up. This is why I like this longer one, because you can have it on for quite a while. There you go. And then I really like the colour that this has turned out as well. With your pots as well, once these are dried, the little bit at the bottom, if you leave your lollipop stick in, what will happen is it will dry down and you can sort of squish your silicone cup and it will come out in a solid piece like your clips. And with these, to glue them, you can either use a really strong glue like E600 or B700 or super glues. Or you can take some of, say before this went, I did the clear bit, you can take a tiny touch of this and you can take it round your clip, just round the edge, and then place them on your clip like this. And then what will happen is within 24 hours it will set firmly to the clip. But like I said, you literally take your lollipop stick in the clear resin, run it round the edge of that or your alligator clip for these ones, and like I said, you just literally run the clear resin across there, place it on your thing, keep it upside down like this for the 24 hours and let it set. Or like I said, you can use the glue alternatively. Personally, I prefer the resin method, but like I said, you can do it with the glue, but you have to be very careful, especially if you're using the more clear colours, because as I showed you with my penguin ones, you can see some of the glue behind it if you're not careful with your placement. So hopefully you've enjoyed watching this. I will probably come back and do the other little bit of this video tomorrow, and I'll show you what these ones look like once they've hardened as well, and I'll actually glue one of them with the clear resin. I'll make another tiny little bit up for you. Okay, bye. So this is just a finish of the more detailed resin video. So as you can see, these are the ones I glued yesterday, and basically I put a resin layer, clear resin layer, and as you can see, that is now set completely solid. You can't see anything, any of the glue underneath. And I did exactly the same with this one. The only difference I did with this one is, just to make sure that the clip didn't glue together, is I just slid it on one of these and I turned it over this way and laid it flat so it could set without movement. So like I said, I'll just do that just to stop these from like connecting, in case you've got like a little bit of resin anywhere you shouldn't have done. Okay, so I'll just show you the method on these. And these are the super cute under the sea themed resin ones that I made yesterday. As you can see, you've got the cute mermaid scatter in there. Now these aren't perfect. As you can see, I've got a few bubbles in the front there, but you get better with technique. As you can see, the red ones don't. Sometimes what happens is you get a few bubbles underneath the gliss pieces. So like I said, it's just something to keep an eye on. If you do, just like before you do your bubble clearing, just sort of take your little like stick, so like a cocktail stick or something like that, and just put them down to make sure that the bubbles come up, and that will help. So there's the 3, and we're just going to do the technique on 1. And I've just got this resin done. I've just been mixing it for the 7 minutes again, and this is just the clear version, nothing on it at all. And all you want is your standard alligator clips. this is the back of the clip. And we're just going to take our mix, get most of it off, we only need a little bit. Just run that across the clip. Resist the urge to put them on, you know, when they're already in the moulds. There we go. So when they're in the moulds, so say they're in the moulds and the resin wasn't set, resist the urge to do this, because what can happen is they can sink, and if they sink too far, obviously you won't be able to get these clips open. So like I said, this is why we do this method afterwards. Just so you know, that's the whole point of it. So again, just get one of your clips, and again, these do need 24 hours to set. So take that into consideration. Resin working is not for impatient people. There we go. Lay that flat. Last one. Straight across. Place it on. Lay it flat. Leave it in a warm area to cure for the 24 hours. So, and the other thing that I did is told you this pendant set is absolutely perfect for creating jewellery, or like I said, if you had the set of 2, you could turn it into an earring set and things like that. This is what I made with one of mine. Like I said, this is the slider clip. So cute. And once they're resined on, they're not going to lift at all. So like I said, that is. And if you had some resin shapes, again, you could use your stick, do a little touch on, and then attach another piece of resin, and again, it will hold really, really well. So there we go. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.